Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna and welcome back to our weekly Sunday ISKCON Mississauga program. Rainbow. We are at the best place to be on a Sunday night, surrounded by beautiful, amazing people, enriching the soul, right? That's what we're all trying to do. So, to start off, first and foremost, we're going to start off with a quote from Srila Prabhupada, right? We always have to remember our philosophy. And today's quote is one I quite enjoy. One who seeks pleasure externally, he is materialistic. And one who seeks pleasure internally, he is spiritualistic. So, this quote, to take a moment to reflect on this quote, the essential essence is, what is real pleasure, right? And this is a very big topic. I'm in no capacity to talk about it, but I'm just going to reflect on my own experiences. But pleasure is something that we don't ever truly understand. For me, I truly understood it when I'm playing Kirtals, right? Or when you hear Govindam Adi Purusham when the curtains open, right? They're different experiences, but the essence is that you can never seek pleasure from the outside because it will never be enough. The moment you think you have enough, your threshold increases and you will never be satisfied, right? This is the one desire that you may never be satisfied, but you can continue pursuing and it purifies you from within. So, I'm happy that you're all here with me today. So, a couple of general announcements. For those of you who may not be aware, is anybody here for the first time? Anybody? Any newcomers? Okay, it's just the family today, that's fine. I'm sure you all know we're transitioning to a new Interact email. So if you would like to donate, we have a lot of expenses in running the temple. So if that's a savor that you'd like to partake in, donation at iskconmississauga.com is your go-to Interact email. The other one will be discontinued very shortly. They can also be made via a QR code because we're very fancy at the front desk. So if you don't want to go through that hassle, scan the QR code. Very quick, very easy, very efficient. We have a couple of special announcements. So first of all, we will be celebrating Gaura Purnima on Tuesday, March 3rd. So that's about 3 weeks. It's going to be on a Tuesday, and it will be at Port Credit Memorial Arena in Credit Room North/South, starting at 5:30 p.m. So normally we have our Sunday programs, but now we're venturing out. We're going to be celebrating Gaura Purnima on Tuesday, March 3rd. So please, mark on your calendars. We've got about 3 weeks. I hope you all will be there. We'll all, in the same month, on the Thursday, March 26th. So we've still got a long time, but get you guys mentally ready to be there. At Meadowville Community Center from 6 p.m. onwards. So Ram Navami on Thursday, March 26th, Meadowville Community Center in the youth senior room starting 6 p.m. So hopefully I'll see you all there. Yeah? Yes? Will I see you there? Yes, there we go. I better. Book Distribution 101 and intermediate courses are now available. So if you, I'm sure some of you have heard, oh, we did book distribution, we distributed this many books. Or some of you have seen book distribution, maybe you came here after seeing that, but you're a bit intimidated, right? How do I do book distribution? How do we go about it? Well, we'll teach you. It's very easy. So if you're interested in learning, we have a very qualified set of team who are veterans in book distribution. So you can come learn from them and become part of our Sankirtan team. We also have Bhakti Vedanta Academy of Education is welcoming us to join an in-person seminar on transforming relationships. This is going to happen on March 28th, so the end of next month, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So this is a very good opportunity to learn about relationships. So this is good for couples, right? It's always a bit difficult. Sometimes, I don't know, I cannot relate. But again, if you're interested in learning how to deepen your relationship in a spiritualistic way, March 28th, all of the couples. I'm pretty sure the men are not interested. Ladies, please drag your husbands there. It might be beneficial. We also have monthly shloka recitations. We've started a monthly online 30-minute class. So if you want to learn how the appropriate way to pronounce shlokas is, there's space for you and for the kids as well. So for the kids, they get a little more attention. They get every Friday at 8 p.m. Kids aged from 5 to 15 can come online on Zoom and they can learn shloka recitations there. And then again, for the adults, it's on a monthly basis, so you guys are going to have to practice on your own a little bit more. We're also introducing the reading club. Who knows about the reading club? Well, for those of you who don't know, it's something very exciting. Essentially, we're going to pick out a book every month, and we're going to all sit together and we're going to read it. This month's book, February's book, has already been distributed, but if you'd like to jump on the train, it's a good time. It is perfect questions, perfect answers. I think I've said this before, but it's one of my personal favorites. I absolutely love this book. If anyone ever asks me for a book, this is the #1 go-to book. It is a bit of my checklist guide whenever I need to refocus myself. It's a beautiful book. So if you have not read it, please join our reading club and we can read it for the first time. If you have read it and like me, still join it and we can revisit some of my favorite analogies of Srila Prabhupada. And then we also have Nina Mataji, who will be having children's classes on our Sunday from 7 years and older. So again, we all know if you guys have kids, they are as welcome here as you are. We will hear a beautiful lecture while the kids do something that's more appropriate for them. Before we go on to this week's Vedic discourse, could we have a couple of special prayers? I'd like you all to join me in chanting the Maha Mantra 3 times. First of all, for His Holiness Jayapatika Maharaj's recovery and the recovery of our congregation member Padmaja Mataji. So please join me in praying for their speedy recovery. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now I know what you've all been waiting for. I won't keep you any longer. This week's discourse is on Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verses 34 to 42 by His Grace Vikas Kulkarni Prabhu. Prabhu has been associated with ISKCON New Vrindavan, Toronto, and ISKCON Mississauga since 2004. He's completed Bhakti Shastri from Mayapur Institute and is currently pursuing Bhakti Vaibhav. He's a very qualified accountant. He's our in-house ISKCON Mississauga accountant. He has a CPA, CIA, and CSET degrees, and serves not only as an accountant, but helps with cooking and cleaning. Prabhu is a very humble devotee and would like to remain as Dasanu Das. So without further ado, Prabhu, please join us.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So I have been asked to speak about Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verses 34 to 42. If you know about these verses, and if you know a little bit about me, you will completely understand that I am absolutely unqualified to talk about this. But it is Vaishnava mercy, it is Krishna's play that he has asked me and he's brought me here to speak about these verses. So I'll do my best service. I seek his blessings to help me out in this endeavor. So, as is our custom, we will invoke auspiciousness. Because He is the Lord who is to be offered the best of things, I will not sing the Mangalacharan prayers and put you into a difficulty and put the Lord into difficulty. I'll invite my brother to actually chant the Mangalacharan prayers for us. There is a saying, those who are adept at doing something should be asked to do it. So I'm going to ask him.
Hare Krishna.
Before you begin, Prabhu. So, the Mangalacharan prayers, which will be followed by Jai Radha Madhav, I want you to be rapt in attention as these Mangalacharan prayers and Jai Radha Madhav is going to be sung, especially when Jai Radha Madhav will be sung. If you go through the verses, there are only two couplets in it, but all of Vrindavan, all of Krishna, all of his pastimes, all of his paraphernalia, all of his family and loved ones, and Krishna's nature is revealed in those two verses. So, as you sing every single word, try to completely concentrate on the Lord. You will realize internally a kind of bliss that will pervade you. And if we all do it together, we all shall benefit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta-padakamalam Shri Guru Shri Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja
कालक्षेपो न कर्तव्यः क्षीणमायु क्षणे क्षणे यमस्य करुणा नास्ति कर्तव्यं हरिकीर्तनं तृणादपि स्निचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मान्देन कीर्तनीय सदा हरि कलौ दोषेषु राजन् अस्ति एको महान् गुणः कीर्तनादि केशवस्य मुक्तसंग परं व्रजे हरिर्नाम हरिर्नामेव केवलं कलौ नास्त्यैव गतिरन्यथा. So with the auspicious name of the Lord, we will begin. But as I had said, I am not qualified to talk about this. So I am going to ask for the Lord's mercy, so that the right words at the right time may come from my mouth in the right spirit, and they may be heard by you and may enter all our hearts in the right way, so that our journey back to home, back to Godhead, is facilitated. In this, please help me, please bless me. There is a very famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which goes like Tadvad visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadvat api yadi namani anantasya yasho ankitani yat Shrunvanti gayanti grananti sadhava. What this means is, even if a verse, a text, or a narration that is about the Lord, to glorify Him, to speak of His pastimes, is composed, is spoken, is heard a little imperfectly, yet those who are in knowledge accept it with completeness. They hear it with completeness and they are absorbed in it in completeness. So, since I am sitting in front of all of you Vaishnavas, I am hoping that you will ignore the imperfections and you will take what is the essence of this conversation. I am going to borrow from Srila Prabhupada's lectures on this very topic, which he had given in Los Angeles on 12th and 14th of January 1969. I'll try not to provide my own mental speculation as I speak about these verses. Thank you so much. So, the flow of conversation, I'll try to be on time. Prabhu, you can be my timekeeper here. So, I'm going to spend a lot of time on verse 34, perhaps a little bit on 35, and then we'll breeze through the rest of the things. So, it's 5:45 now, so maybe around 6:05, I should be closing in on my conversation around verse 34. If not, tell me. We will go through the verse recitation, so very quickly, I would like people not to waste time. I want to offer everybody a chance to recite the verses. So from verse 34 to 42, I'll quickly present them on the screen. Depending on whether you are chanting in Sanskrit, we'll cover the Sanskrit, or if a devotee wants to speak about the English translation, we'll go through the translation so that we've read through what the verses mean. Because we've read through the verses, I want us to have jointly an opportunity to think about what questions we have, and hopefully through the discussions, I have answered those questions, so that we are not struggling to have questions or answers at a later stage. And in any case, if based on what we discuss you have questions, I'll try to have 5-10 minutes at the end so that we can cover all of that. Sounds good?
Yes.
So before we get there, the context, how did we get here? What has happened up till now so that we are at chapter 4, verse 34. Chapter 1 is simple. Vishad Yoga, Arjun Maharaj has been infused in confusion. I'm saying infused because he's actually a pure devotee. He should not get into confusion. But then the Lord plays his Leela, and Arjun Maharaj is in Vishad Yoga. And he's drawing, because he is in that illusionary state, he's drawing wrong conclusions based on his own speculation. Then comes chapter 2, where Arjun Maharaj, even though he is speculating, and he gives a lot of questions and arguments to fulfill what he is thinking and to justify what he is thinking, he ultimately knows that no answer is coming from this. There is no peace in the heart. So he understands that he is not capable. So he humbly accepts the Lord as his Guru. The Lord, when he starts to speak, in the very first two verses, 2:11 and 2:12, clarifies almost all of the philosophical debate that is happening in Hinduism. In the very first verse, what the Lord says is, you are not this body, you are this soul. So why are you talking about like a body? And the very next verse he says, you are a soul, I am a soul, everybody here around this battlefield is a soul. We have been souls in the past, we are souls now, and will remain souls in the future. This should basically eliminate any question around impersonalism. It should remove any question around Mayavad, and it should also remove any question as to his supremacy. It's very, illuminating as to how the Lord starts. In two verses is actually spoken about. If you really understand and can elaborate and magnify what he said, the whole Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam can actually come right into those two verses. Regardless, from there, the Lord speaks about Sankhya and elaborates on the soul and what is around the soul in that battlefield. The Lord speaks about Karma Kanda, he speaks about Karma Yoga. And then from there, from verse 41 of that chapter onwards, he speaks about devotional service. And then he says, if you are looking outside, your mind and your consciousness and your thinking is divided into multiple things. And the buddhi becomes concentrated as you go inside. And as you go inside, you will be able to perform devotional service with perfection. The Lord gives multiple examples, goes through this philosophy as to why devotional service, and then he comes to a stage that once you perfected this, you will become sthit pragya. Sthit pragya means that you will have a very steady intelligence. And that's where, if the Lord ends chapter 2 by saying, if you are in steady intelligence, even at the point of death, then you can achieve me. So Arjun Maharaj then says, he is now focused on sthit pragyaness, and he says, if that is very important and that is better, why are you telling me to fight? And that's where chapter 3 begins. So in chapter 3, the Lord then says, sthit pragya doesn't mean that you are inactive. Sthit pragya means your intelligence is established. It doesn't mean your body and your activities in this world have come to naught. That's not what Sthit Pragya is. That is false Sthit Pragya. Everyone in this world must act. They will be forced to act. So either you act out of your whimsical thinking or you act in your prescribed duties. So that's how the Lord slowly progresses through chapter 3. Through chapter 3, he speaks about, starts with Vikarma. If you act with whimsical thinking, it is Vikarma, which is not what is in the prescribed duty. From there, at least following your prescribed duty, you can fulfill your desires, so that is Sakam Karma. From there, he elevates the conversation to Nishkam Karma, where people are able to give up the fruitive results of their activities and just perform activities as a duty. From Nishkam Karma, he then says, there is still a better stage. If you perform activities for nobody and just out of a sense of duty, it will actually become very monotonous. You will start to deviate from it. Give the activities and the outcome of the activities to me. From that, you will receive pleasure. And that is Karma Yoga. Now, why it happens that if we perform duty for ourselves, we may get deviated. But if we perform the same action for him, we get elevated. That's because, and in this chapter, Prabhupada speaks about in the purports, the prescribed duties are at two levels. Prescribed duties are for the body, and that is Varnashram, and prescribed duties are for the soul. If you are acting at the bodily level, then because our desires are unlimited, our thinking is corrupted, we need to go through some regulation. So that is the Varnashram Dharma and its prescriptions for the body. But when you are at the soul level, we are parts and parcels of him. The constitutional position that we have is to serve. Our dharma is actually to serve. So we are established in our dharma only when we are serving, whether we realize or not. The dharma is not whether we are Hindu, Christian, Muslim or whatever. Anybody, whether it is from any other faith or from Hindu faith or for anything, they are serving. Whether they recognize it or not, they are serving. That is the constitutional duty. Sugar will always be sweet. It doesn't matter whether you put sugar in tea, whether you put it in kheer, whether you put it in prasadam. It will always be sweet. That is the dharma of the sugar. Similarly, it doesn't matter where a devotee is in or what kind of life the living entity is having. His duty is to serve. You will be serving matter or you will be serving the Lord. The choice is for us to serve the Lord. And the way we serve the Lord is essentially nothing else but Karma Yoga. So, the chapter 3 again then from there on goes to say that, so why is there propensity to sin? And the Lord says it's because of lust, anger and greed. And the way to come out of lust, anger and greed is, and we talked about it, and it comes up in verses 41 to 43 of chapter 3 through Panchakosha. So to realize that my tongue and my eyes and ears and all of my five senses are superior to what I consume through those senses. I can decide that I don't want this, or I have had enough of this. Realizing that my mind is superior to my senses, I can control. If my mind is not in control, I can create control through my intelligence. And because intelligence has a flaw, all of us have that intelligence and it is flawed. The flaw is that it always divides things into two. There is duality. And you can come above that duality the moment you realize that you are not intelligence, you are actually the soul. Your consciousness. Consciousness has no duality. It has no good or bad. It has no liking or disliking. At that level, you have connected with the Chit aspect of Sat Chit Anand, which is our soul. If you realize the Chit aspect of our soul, you can actually perceive our soul more clearly. Hold on to that. Anytime you are thinking like that and you are in consciousness and you are not thinking in duality, try to create moments in your day-to-day life, and if you create that, you will come to know a little bit more about your Chit potency of your soul. And through the Chit potency of your soul, it's like you're holding the Father's finger, you will be able to hold his hand and you will be able to even climb his shoulder. So through that you can get a little bit of understanding of what we are as a soul. Chapter 4 moves from there. So if somebody has now realized, let's say theoretically, Arjun Maharaj should have by now realized that he is a soul, how to control his senses is to come out of it. At chapter 4, then the question becomes, so if you are a soul, what are you supposed to do? So there in chapter 4, after the Lord says that knowledge should be received through Parampara system, the Lord actually gives transcendental knowledge. He gives that knowledge in verses 7 to 11, where he speaks about his birth, why he comes in this world. So you've heard of those two very famous Mahabharata verses. And then the verse 9 is where he speaks about Janma Karma Chave Divyam Evam Yo Veti Tatvata. So by knowing him and just his birth, in fact, in complete reality and realization, anyone can come out of this world. And we'll elaborate as to how that can happen. And then verses 10 and 11, he even goes further where he speaks about, therefore surrender to me. So, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Veti Tatvataha Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Na Eti Mameti Sarjuna. You would think that the Lord has spoken about, because 1866, surrender unto me is a very famous verse, that it is there the Lord speaks about surrender. No. He speaks about surrender actually in verse 10 itself of chapter 4. So the 10th verse goes like, Vitrag Bhaya Krodha Manmaya Mam Upashrita. Be completely conscious of me and be completely surrendered to me. Bahavo Jnana Tapasa Uta Mat Bhavam Agata. Many have done this before and have come to me. And then the Lord says, Ye yathamam prapadyante tam tatheva bhajamyam mam vartam anuvartante manushya partha sarvata. So he then says, in any case, whether you do this or not, every path is created by me, whether of illusion or of knowledge. So depending on what you put and how much you put in terms of intensity and effort into it, I reward it. So that's where chapter 4 was. Now, coming to these particular verses, just prior to verse 34, the Lord then talk about sacrifices. So how do you come to the Lord? The Lord has given the knowledge about himself from verse 7 of chapter 4 to verse 11. But how do you come to the Lord? Because we are tied in this world. Just think about it as if I am tied and I have lots of ropes that are touching me. What are those ropes? The ropes are in the sense of the sense object. The ropes are in the form of my senses. The ropes are in the form of my mind. The ropes are in the form of my knowledge. I have to cut all of these ropes. These ropes, if you understand the koshas and think about it in that manner, are tying my sthul sharir into this world, and they are also tying my sukshma sharir into this world. So, sthul sharir with this body is done, but sukshma sharir is tied to this world through senses, through mind, intelligence and ego. You have to cut those ropes. How do you cut those ropes? So the Lord speaks about you have to sacrifice. Sacrifice is what? There is nothing as sacrifice. It is Lord's greatness and His mercy. He calls this sacrifice. There is nothing that we can ever sacrifice. We don't bring anything. What can we sacrifice? What can we offer him? So what is he saying sacrifice? Why is he saying this is sacrifice? He says sacrifice in the sense that you, my small child, who's thought and who's focused only on playing with this toy, move your attention from this toy to me, and that he is calling sacrifice. Can you imagine how magnanimous the Lord is? He is saying, move away from the toy and just look at me, your father, and that he says is sacrifice. And we think we are doing big sacrifices when we think we are chanting. All we are doing is calling his name. And that is the faulty intelligence we have. That is why this chapter is so important. So in verses 25 to 31, the Lord speaks about how do you perform sacrifices. So it is the fire sacrifice where you offer your belongings, senses and sense objects. These are the way you can cut the rope, because these are the things that are tying us. So now you can, if you really go through this very quickly, you're basically coming from outside to inside. As the quote Prabhu had quoted, the moment you come inside, you become more and more spiritual. And when you connect with him, you become more and more satisfied. The last verse was, verse 33 was, Shreyam Dravyamaya Yajna Gyan Yajna Parantapa Sarva Karma Khilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. The sacrifice performed in knowledge is better. So when you are performing all of those sacrifices and trying to cut the ties that tie us, whether the sthool body or the sukshma body to this world, perform that with knowledge. And that's where we come to verse 34. I'll speed up a little bit, but let's quickly read through this. As I had said, we will actually run through the reading of the verses and the translation. Because of the barrier, Prabhujis, you may not be able to read unless you open up your mobile phones. But maybe the Mataji is sitting here and Prabhus, you are sitting here. We will quickly go through the reading so that if any questions are there, you can pop up and bring them up right now. Verse 34. Anybody wants to read?
तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः.
35. Anyone wants to read the English translation?
Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are one.
36. Anybody? अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि. You can read the English translation, that's why I am reading the Sanskrit.
Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of mysteries.
यथेदांसि समिदो अग्निर्भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा.
As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities.
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रम् इह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धिं कालेन आत्मनि विन्दति.
In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace.
अज्ञश्च अश्रद्धधानश्च संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति नरो न परो न सुखं संशयात्मनः.
But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the divine scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next.
Yoga sannyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani vibadnanti dhananjaya.
One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches.
Tasma jnana sambhutam ritastam jnana sinatmanah chitvainam samshayam yogam tishtha uttishta bharata.
Therefore the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Okay, so we've read through the verses that are allotted for today's conversation. I wanted to read this up front so that if you have any questions or comments, you can ask them now. And if you have no questions or comments, then my lecture is not required and I'll start to ask questions. So, anybody, any questions? Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, can you please further elaborate how you were saying like we control senses and we hold the finger like a child hold the finger of a father and we control his senses?
Sure, Mataji. We'll go through this and then if I have not answered, we'll come back. Okay? So hold me true to that. So the first thing we should think about when we are looking at verse 34, and I know it is 6:5. Yeah. So if I say, and we all know that we are soul, and the quality of the soul is such it anand. So what is the need for knowledge if we are already supposed to have knowledge? Okay, when we started with our Mangalacharan prayers, what is the first word we say? Ajnana. What is Ajnana? Absence of knowledge. He is perfect for diplomacy. Seriously, what is Ajnana?
Forgetfulness of our relationship with the
Associating ourselves with the body.
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu. All of you are right. Why it happens is because it is formed like that in the DNA of this creation when Brahma created this universe. There is a verse it actually comes in two places in Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam. It goes like Sasarjagre, which is at the beginning of creation, Andhatamishra, Atha, that means after Andhatamishra, Tamishra, Adikre. So he made Andhatamishra, then he made Tamishra, and then Mahamoham eva moham cha tamha cha agyan vrittaya. So 5 things is what Brahma instilled. So if you are trying to make anything Mataji, you are making a cooking in the in the kitchen, 5
ingredients.
Yeah, 5 ingredients have been put right at the beginning, and that is why we all are suffering. What are these 5 things? The first is Andhatamishra. Andhatamishra is the sense of death being everything, the end of everything. Everybody thinks that at death everything dies. That's why you will see a whole lot of activity in this world going around, because people will say, oh, this is this one life, I need to do this, I need to do this. Even those who are in Bhakti Marg, who are in Jnana Marg, will also be fallible to this. This sense of death pervades everything. I need to find the perfect husband, I need to find the perfect wife, I need to complete my goals before this. Even on deathbed, people will be thinking about that. This is the first pillar of ignorance. The second pillar of ignorance, Tamishra, is frustration upon anger. Now, it is a little cryptical because it's not very clear what does frustration upon anger mean and why it is related to ignorance. Frustration upon anger means that when in this world I'm trying to get something, if I don't get it, I'll be angry. And that anger perpetuates the sense of, starts with the sense of passion and quickly drags you down to your mode of ignorance. And because these three modes are perpetuating this world, it was instilled in there. And we all, if something goes wrong, our voice goes up. If something goes wrong, our brows go up, our anger comes out. Why? Because it was instilled. It is right in the DNA of this world. The third is Mahamoha. Mahamoha is when we see something, we want to enjoy it. We don't think to whom it belongs. We just want to enjoy it. Anything, whether it is eatable, whether it is activity, whether it is a painting, whether it is a good scenery, doesn't matter what it is. We see it, we want to enjoy it. And from Mahamoha, why this Mahamoha happens? Because there is Moha. Moha is illusion. We try to enjoy this because we see things divided into individual things. We could not see that if there was one single lump of clay from which Brahma has created everything, then everything is that clay. But we see a portion of it. We see a toy and we want to play with it. We see a cloth and we want to wear it. That is Moha. And what do these four things do? To Prabhu, your point, it actually makes us forget that we are the soul and makes us act as if we are the body. And these five things are very strong. All of the previous sacrifices that have been talked about are incapable of cutting these five things out. You can cut everything, even though you can elevate yourself through any of the yagyas, any of the jnana, any of the yoga system, you will not be able to cut these five things out. For that, you need a guru. That is the need for the guru. Think about it this way. If somebody does not even know what is to be accomplished, how can they actually solve that problem? Because most people don't know what that problem is. So that is the first premise of this, that you have a jnana, therefore you need to get jnana. And where to get jnana? You need to get jnana from somebody who has jnana. So that humility has to come. So up till now, the previous verses were all about cutting out our roots to everything else. This verse is about the sacrifice of our false ego at the feet of our spiritual master. I'll really quick breeze through this. There is so much to be talked about just on this verse. But if true knowledge, so what is true knowledge? Again, I had said that in chapter 4, the Lord has spoken about himself, that the true knowledge is to attain him, to know his Janma and Karma. Who can give us that knowledge of true Janma and Karma? Only just like a mother can tell who the father is, and there is no room for speculation here. Only the mother can tell you. There is no speculation. No one can say, maybe this guy is my father, maybe that guy is my father, that guy is my father. No point in speculating. If you have to become an engineer, you have to become a doctor, you have to go through a process. And this is the process. So this was more to elaborate as to why you need a guru. And people will say, why do I need a guru? There shouldn't be anybody between me and God. Yeah, there shouldn't be anything between you and God, but do you know where you are and where God is? And how to get from point A to point B? You need a GPS system. That's where the guru comes in. So, the people or the things that can tell you about the Lord are actually Krishna, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But of all of these, just like by reading a book, you cannot become a doctor. You have to go through the university, you have to go through the guru. Because a sadhu may also be there and he may tell you about a little bit of the scripture. But the whole thing, through the whole duration of what you want, only a Guru can do that. And Guru is more merciful than Krishna. Krishna looks for qualities before he imparts something. Yemam prapadyante tam sathayo bhajamyam. Unless you go to that level, he will not give it. But a Guru is more merciful, so you need to go to the Guru. But what makes for a bona fide Guru? The Guru is, as per the, and you have all of my thoughts here. You can actually read through this and later on figure out what is not spoken about. I am going to preach again. But Guru, as per Srila Prabhupada, is somebody who has himself seen the Lord. And because he has seen the Lord, he can give the Lord to you. Just like in darkness, we cannot see ourselves, we cannot see what's around us. But the moment there is sun, and if you see the sun, you can see yourself, and you can very clearly see what's around me. So similarly, because the Guru has seen the sun, he can take us to the place where there is sun, and the moment there is sun, we automatically understand what this all is about, and that is the transcendental knowledge. We'll talk a little bit about the qualities of a Guru, how to find and what is who's the right Guru. So think about that you are in North America and you want to go to Himalaya. What will you look for in a Guru? There could be a Guru who's just speculating and telling you, oh, Himalaya is like this, it's a big mountain range and it's from this kilometer to that kilometer and whatnot. Then there is another one who has read about Himalaya, and he can also become a Guru and he can tell you what Himalaya is. There is another one who has actually seen at least documentary about Himalaya who can give you a little bit more knowledge. But then there is another person who actually has been to Himalaya and can give you knowledge. There is still a better person than that who has actually spent time in Himalaya, who is a resident of Himalaya, therefore he knows what this mountain range is, what that mountain range is, where that is, and everything about Himalaya. He can tell you the animals and the living conditions there. And then there is another one who is actually an expert around everything that is at Himalaya, and he can be a Guru. But no, a Guru goes even further than that. What is the benefit of somebody who knows about Himalaya if he doesn't know what I am facing in Mississauga? So the Guru has to not only know about Himalaya, he has to be able to understand the situation we are in this world, what is the problem we face in this world on a daily basis, and be able to lift us from this world all the way up to Himalaya. That is the Guru. That Guru has to understand what you are seeing today, what you are going to do tomorrow, why your mood changes, what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, and then leverage all of that so that you become capable of taking the journey to Himalaya. That Guru is not only doing that for you, the Guru, if he is a true Guru, that Guru will be able to do that by understanding what is going on in your mind, Mataji, what is going on in your mind, how you will be able to go to Himalaya, and then be able to take all the entourage to Himalaya on their own time in the right way. That is the importance of Guru, and that is why you have to bow down to it. The moment you find such Guru, where is the question of you will bow down. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. It will be very automatic. It will be, there just can't be, you can't refrain from bowing down to him for serving him if you find such a Guru. And it is his play on me that he is making me one who has not yet accepted a Guru to speak a lecture and give a lecture about Guru. Just imagine how he plays. He has brought me here. So that was chapter 4, verse 34. That is how the Guru can impart, and that is how they can take us to the ultimate. Verse 35. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again. So here I have quoted on the right side 6 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. They actually say how it happens, how you will not fall back into this world. So very quickly, I'll not read the verses, but I'll say this. The moment you start to serve somebody who has ruchi in Vasudeva Katha, then you will slowly get established in it. As you start to get established in hearing about the Lord, Shrunvatam Sukatha Krishna, so he is listening it and he will start to give you Ye Mam Prapadyante Tam Tateva Jamyaham. So if you start to listen to him, he will start to give knowledge from inside. And that knowledge will nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. It will actually destroy all of the other things that are surrounding, that are keeping you in this world. So the ropes are getting cut automatically. You don't have to do it. What we talked about from 425 to 431, you don't have to spend time. He will do it automatically. What happens? Tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha adhyashtiye. All of these things are destroyed. What happens then? Prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha. Bhagavad Vijnana Mukta Sangasya Jayate. You actually become very, serving him becomes a pleasurable activity and you get established in it. What happens then? Bhidyate Hriday Granthi. All of the doubts that are always infesting, they are like a parasite sitting in our heart. Those doubts are removed. Vidyate Hriday Granthi, Chidyate Sarva Samshaya. So all questions in the heart are removed, all the illusion from the mind is removed, and Shiyante Chasya Karmani, all the karma that we've accumulated are done. As soon as we've received this knowledge, we've seen him internally. So that was verse 35, and that is the process. So none of this thing is just, 2 lines. You have to actually understand there is so much more in other scriptures everywhere else. Here, again, if you are considered to be most sinful of sinners, so many people misunderstand this. What does this mean? It doesn't mean that if you committed sins, you will be spared. You will not be spared. Just look at Bhishma Pitama. He had to suffer and he had to lie on the bed of arrows. So what does this mean? It means that at that stage, because you have cut yourself from the Sthul Sharir and Sukshma Sharir, you are at a level where it doesn't matter what is happening to this body or to the mind of the intelligence. You are in a completely different zone. And at that level, none of this matters. And at that level, you may have committed so many sins in the past, but if you remain like that, you will automatically go to a point of death because you are not falling down from that point. There is more to be said, but you can read the key points later on. And just like, fire destroys everything, similarly, the knowledge will destroy everything. I had given the analogy of the sun, so that is another analogy that you can think about as to how this happens. And why is Jnana Pavitra? Because, again, I had quoted verse 21, Vidyate Hriday Granthi Chidyate Sarva Samshaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani. This is important. Shraddhavan Lavate Jnana. So why is Shraddha important? So there is a verse that I have quoted here. It is from Madhya Lila and it is very famous. This is 9-step process to getting to Prema Bhakti, but it begins with Shraddha. If you don't have faith, you will not look outside of yourself. You will not even go out to look for a guru. So Shraddha is required. Without Shraddha, nothing can happen. It is the very first step, as we say. And actually, I cannot refrain from giving multiple quotations and links. That is why in chapter 13, 8 to 12 verses, where the Lord is speaking about 24 different types of knowledge, He says, the first thing He says is humility. If of all the ways you can achieve knowledge, the first thing why He says humility. Because if you don't have humility, you will think I know the answers. You need to have humility. So every verse in Bhagavad Gita connects with every other verse completely. And Agyascha Ashraddha. So I have given multiple examples here. Duryodhana, Karna, Yudhishthira, etc. They didn't have the kind of Shraddha. Even Yudhishthira didn't have Shraddha. The Lord said, go tell Dronacharya that Ashwatthama has been killed. He didn't have the faith. there is a big logical reason, actually very clear logical reason as to why the Lord said and Yudhishthira Maharaj should have followed. It's not just that, oh, he is the Lord, so I should follow. But there is a reason why it should have. We don't have time to go into it. But even Yudhishthira Maharaj, even who is so associated with the Lord, is fallible to having that ashraddha at that moment of time. So we have to be completely surrendered. That is what surrender means. That when you are in doubt, yet you follow what has been told to you. That is Shraddha. And one who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruit of his activities, his doubts are destroyed, etc. And then he is not bound by the reactions of work. Why? So here I have given two analogies, trader 1 and trader 2. If I am working for RBC and I am doing some stock trading for RBC, the money belongs to RBC, not to me. So when I invest, the profit or loss from that investment belongs to RBC. If I am in this world and I am borrowing everything from the Lord, then profit or loss belongs to him, not to me. But trader 2, if he is basically saying, oh, RBC has a lot of money, I am doing the trades anyway, so let me take $1,000 loan or $1 million loan, and now I am going to invest this. What is going to happen? The loss and gain that is going to happen will belong to you. And that keeps us in this world. Simple ways of us to understand how to remain detached and what detachment really means. I know I am at 6:25, Prabhu. 2 more minutes, I am at the last verse now. Tasmat Jnana Sambhutam. So basically what the Lord is saying, be like trader 1. That is our constitutional position. Our constitutional position is to serve, but to serve Him, not ourselves or this world. And then he says, Arjuna, with this weapon of knowledge, fight. So that's the chapter 4. Now I will ask a question for all of you. If transcendental knowledge is so important, where is bhakti? Bhakti, we know bhakti is the best. So why this knowledge? Why is Lord giving this knowledge?
Because कृष्ण को जानने के बाद ही भक्ति पैदा होगी, उससे पहले नहीं पैदा होगी.
Yes, Mataji. Anybody else with any other answer? Why?
Knowledge should lead to bhakti. It leads to bhakti.
For different levels of consciousness, knowledge has to be.
Yes. See, the thing is, the reason most of us will feel the need for knowledge is because we are not simple beings. Simplicity is required. All of what you said is right, but if our hearts were simple, just the way Dhruv Maharaj was given one instruction, just one instruction, say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and he achieved the Lord. But we are so complex that we make our lives complex, therefore we need complex knowledge and therefore we need to do this. So let's not be in any illusion that, oh, I am performing bhakti, so that is enough and bhakti will take me to the Lord. Yes, it will take you. But because we have created complexes in our heart, in our nature, in our mind, to remove those complexes, you need knowledge. And you need all sorts of regulative principles. And then slowly bhakti will come out. If somebody who's very nirmal, that person will always be in bhakti, and bhakti itself is sufficient for that person. That person doesn't have to do anything else. You know, Ramakrishna Paramahansa gives the story of a Pandit and a girl. And the Pandit keeps shouting at the girl that you need to come before my prayer start. And the girl says, I cannot because there is no bowman who can make me cross the boat. He says, what are you talking about, the bowman? With the Lord's name you can go over the whole ocean of this world. So the girl next day comes, around 5:30 she is at his house. Pandit says, how did you come today? He says, I came, I just walked across. You told me. So that kind of faith can make you walk on water, but you need to have the simplicity. His name alone is sufficient. We say it in our Shikshashtakam. He has invested things in his name, but here we are chanting one round after another, every day after day, year after year. Why are we not having him dancing on our tip of our tongues? That's because we are not yet humble. We need to either become humble or we need to gain this knowledge, and through this knowledge achieve Him. Hare Krishna. Sorry, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, time was not even sufficient. One or two shloka was enough for 1 hour.
Here we have a very big round of applause. That was a very, very, very lovely class. Hopefully you all took away some of the key lessons. First of all is the importance of a mentor, right? A guru who can understand where we are, understand where we need to go and take us there. And without keeping you all any longer, if you guys have any questions, please be free to bother Prabhu during Prashadam time. But we're going to finish off with a little bit of closing kirtan, so I'd like to invite Mataji, and we can all stand up, and we're going to have a little bit of kirtan to end off our program. There you go.